Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdurrahman, and I I am going to present for my group. We've talked about it, and they've elected me to present. Hazman is going to help me with the setting up and everything. Uh, our project is a sport coaching system. So we have to create a platform we have to create a system for the sport coaching software, and it has to be based on OOP paradigm. And the design should follow the OO design methodology. And as per the assignment, it's divided into three parts: analysis phase, design phase, and implementation phase. So we've tackled each and every part as a group. We've discussed thoroughly, and we came up with the report, which I'm going to explain after a while. And this took us almost 1 week, but we finally made it. Even though there's a lot of things we didn't talk about that we went into, but because of the time we couldn't. And if I go to the uh, project, we have four people in our group: me, Abdurrahman, Hazman, Ahmad Al-Hafiz, and Nur Atika. Um, so this is the table of content. As I mentioned before, it's divided into three phases: the analysis phase, the design phase, and and the implementation phase. So the abstract mainly talks about what the project was about. It's like I said, it's a sport coaching system to manage the professionals, the clubs, and the license for the coach. And and um, in the brainstorming section, we talked about everything that we're going to include, everything that was possible to include inside our system, from classes to attributes, everything that was possible, right? Full name, ID, password, every possible alteration. And in the filtering section, we've omitted some things that we thought that they were not really necessary. So at the end, we finally came up with 12 classes. Before this, there was more than 12 classes, but the at the end we could only do 12 classes. And and this table is the things that we filtered out. Sorry, the things we filtered out, and the responsibilities and the behavior responsibility, the knowledge responsibility and the behavior responsibility of the things that we filtered out. And here are all the classes that we actually needed, that we actually used in our project. Up to 12 classes, starting from admin to um, to activity. So there's like uh, for example, in the scenario section, we talked about the things that the coach is going to do. For example, that we actually needed for the system. So the coach needs to train. He needs to get his license. He needs to apply for another club. In case he leaves the club, he needs to type. He needs to mention the progress of the club and the payment and so on and so forth. That is it for the brainstorming session. Now we actually get back to our system. So these three designs for the design phase. We've used each and every system to its maximum. For example, the CRC card, the sequence diagram, and then this UML diagram. For the CRC diagram, it's a little bit like UML, but it's uh, uh, they have few similarities, but they're completely different, right? And the CRC actually deals with classes. That's the similarity. UML, as we will see after this, it deals with classes. So the CRC deals with classes as well. Um, for the CRC, it is a tool that is used to organize classes and you have the classes, you have the responsibilities for the classes, and you have the collaborations, right? You have you identify the classes, you list the responsibilities of the classes, and you list the collaborators. And we will see here, this is our the 12 classes that we actually chose. We put them through the CRC diagram, and we get the name of the class. We get the responsibilities of that specific class, and the collaborators, who the people who will be using that class, right? Who needs to delete or create a coach, or manage the coach profile, or manage the club. So there's specific classes that will be attached, the specific people, sorry, that will be attached to that class, right? So they will be doing the same responsibilities, but even though they're different people. For the admin, we have this is the admin class, we have the coach class. This is all 12 classes ran through CRC diagram. um, this is all classes. I don't think I can go in one and one, but they all have the same thing. They all do the same job. We have the name, and then we have the responsibility list, and then we have the collaborator list for each and every class. Right, we have 12 classes. That's for the CRC diagram. Um, the second one that we talked about was the sequence diagram. This is completely different from both the CRC diagram and the UML diagram. This one actually, this is actually, it talks about the operation, right? Uh, we'll see that in the UML diagram, but this is only deals with the operations, like uh, uh, it focuses, and they show the order of the interaction visually by using vertical axis of the diagram to represent time and what messages are sent and when. So these are the operations, the things that they actually do. You have the admin, he can add, he can view, stuff like that. Those are the operations. Viewing, adding, deleting, editing, and updating. So we had few operations to deal with in the system. So in the sequence diagram, instead of actually focusing on the classes or attributes, it only focuses on operations or methods. Uh, so we gave uh, for each and every class, he has almost uh, the same operations, but some have like unique operations that some others don't. For the admin, he can add, view, edit, visit, uh, update, and sort, and he can save his updates. And for the coach, he can log in, he can print the stuff, he can view, he can return, he can edit, he can. So basically, the admin is the one with the most power. He can do almost everything. But for the coach and the coach, he can do few stuff, not everything. Since the coach undercomes the admin, right? So the admin is the one who's creating the coach, the profile for the coach. Um, that is it for the sequence diagram. Um, this is the UML class diagram. This is a bit different from the first and the third one. This actually tackles everything uh, from from the class, the attribute, and the method, which is also called the operation, right? So the first design CRC, it talked about just the classes and how those classes are organized, right? And the sequence diagram, it talked about the operations and how they're carried out, right? And but for the UML diagram, it talks those two, and it actually adds an attribute, right? So it's divided into three parts. Each class is divided into three parts. You have the name of the class, and then you have the attributes of the class, and then you have the method of the class. So the add, the delete that we just saw now for the sequence diagram, it deals the same thing as well. Uh, and then this one is also unique, as in each and every class can be connected to one or more classes, right? You can physically see the classes connecting, right? So one in one, which means that one class is connected to one other class. But if one class is connected to more than one class, you can see the connections. So these are all 12 classes and how they're all interconnected physically. So that is the good thing about the UML diagram. Uh, if a system has many related classes, they are grouped together to create a class diagram. So that's basically where the name class diagram comes from. That is it for our design phase. For the implementation phase, we decided to go with responsibility algorithm for all 12 selected classes. So in this algorithm, we mention all variables involved in each class, and we initialize them. And the thing that we did with this algorithm is that it's from the user's perspective, right? When the user actually boots up the system and wants to log in, or he wants to edit something, or he wants to do his operations, this is what that algorithm does. So for the admin, all his operations are here. The things that he needs to log, if he needs to log in, or if he wants to edit, or if he wants to delete, stuff like that. He wants to enter the password. Uh, so these are the small things that the admin needs to do before he actually uses the system. Um, uh, that is for the admin, and then you have the coach, which is basically the same thing. And then these are all his operations. That this is all just the responsibility algorithm for all selected 12 classes. Okay, that is for the implementation phase. So those are all the three phases that we mentioned. Uh, Analysis phase, which was just brainstorming and us as a group talking together and discussing what will be and what will not be inside the report. And then we have the design phase, where when we actually came up with the classes and the attributes for each class inside the brainstorming. Now we actually want to put them through a system design, right? So we have three different designs that we actually used: CRC design, we have sequence diagram, and then we have UML diagram. So each and every design phase was implemented to its full capacity. And then I just mentioned the implementation phase, which was just using an algorithm so that the user can actually use the system as we wanted. But since our project is just proposal, there's no real system built. So this is just a proposal. In case someone comes in the future and they want to build a real system, they can use this report. It will actually help them. That is for the conclusion. And the things that we learned from this report as a whole, even though we didn't actually build a system, is that uh, we actually learned how to work together as a group. And since we're four people in a group, and each and every person has his own idea and his own thinking of how to build the system, so we all put our ideas together, and then we filter through them. So we go through each and everyone's idea, and we see the things that we can actually use for the system, and the things that we don't need, without being biased to one person. uh, we can we also we also learn that we can actually build this system, uh, if in case in the future, uh, in the future it needs a system to be built, right? So that's the recommendation. In the future, if someone wants to build a real life coach system, uh, we can build the system. And if someone else decides to build it, they can actually use our report to build the system. Finally, the limitations of the assignment. um, yeah, like I said before, we have four people, and there's going to be a conflict of opinions, right? Everyone wants all his ideas to be implemented because he believes that all his ideas are good, but based on the report's parameters, we have to decide which ones we should use and which one we should not. So even though the ideas were not used, we mentioned them inside the brainstorming part, right? The things that we need to omit and the things that we do not need, the things that we actually need to use for our system to be full. I think that's it for the presentation, and I hope that one day someone comes and actually decides to build a system using our report. Uh, Thank you, madam, and that's all. Assalamu alaikum.